No lies. Kevin Durant was always the second option. Hold up, let me watch this, bro. I just seen the thumbnail and the title, bro. I just seen the thumbnail and the title. Fuck with Low. Fuck what you got going on over there. Very informational. You dig what I'm saying? But let's lock in though, bro. Hold up, bro. What's going on, man? They talk about my boy KD, bro. Hold up, bro. Yeah, I got C Pleasant fucked up.
Greatest scorers in NBA history, but he has had one of the most interesting careers for a star of his caliber. After not being able to get it done in OKC, he went to Golden State where he won 2 Finals MVPs, but since then, he has only won 2 playoff series as he hopped from team to team.
That's a fact. But you're still two-time MVP. Still bought the trophy down Addison Road, nigga. Oh, hey, that's what I own. Y'all see that shit differently, bruh. Bruh, that shit was epic, my boy. That shit was epic. Go look at the pictures, nigga, down Addison like this, nigga, in the back of the whip with the trophy, boy. Stop playing.
To try and win without being in Steph's shadow. As I've thought more about how
A
Durant's
dub
game
is a
really
dub.
fits into a championship team, there only seems to be one real conclusion I've been able to get to. Kevin Durant is the greatest second option in NBA history.
We gotta stop, bro. First it was Kobe, bro. Y'all was saying Kobe was not in the top 10. Just that, like he not top 3. Like when has Kobe not been second to Jordan, bro? It's Jordan, Kobe, Bron. Now y'all saying he the best second option. Second option to who? Russell Westbrook? Stop playing, bro. Second to who? To Kyrie Irving? To Steph? Any team he's played on, he's the second option. To Devin Booker? Are you serious? And they all great players, bro, but none of them is 7 foot doing what he's doing, bro.
That's kind of crazy, but the actual like breakdown of his like plays and shit is really good.
Over his entire career, a ton of athletes have discussed how hard it is to defend KD. Marcus Smart said you had to just pray when guarding him. Kobe Bryant said KD was the one guy he never really figured out, and that has shown throughout KD's career as he has averaged 27 points on 50% shooting. Pretty insane
Dog, let me
efficiency for someone that primarily shoots jump shots. And on the court, it shows as he has had one of the most versatile scoring skill sets ever. He is known as one of the best mid-range scorers, and he did a ton of damage from the wing. With his back to the basket, he can take his time and then transfer quickly into that shot. As long as he had the space, he only needed a few dribbles to get to his sweet spot. He's comfortable going to either hand and then stopping on a dime before pulling up as well. And the key thing here is that he's 7 feet tall with a high arcing shot, so most defenders can't get a real contest on these shots. This allowed him to be a great 3-point shooter as well.
Get to the point to where as though he the second option. Stop bigging my man up for the disrespect, bruh. Don't do that. Stop bigging my man up for the disrespect, bruh. That shit is crazy. Don't say respectfully and then follow it up with the most disrespectful shit ever.
As he shot 39% from behind the arc, making him an all-around elite scorer. What I did find the most interesting though was how often he played off the ball, especially in OKC. A lot of off-ball screens were set to help free him up so that defenses couldn't load up to him in time. With someone like Westbrook, who was a good passer, he helped set Durant up in a lot of different ways. With defenders trying to front KD, he could make those entry passes over the top, which got him really easy paint touches. And Durant was a pretty good cutter himself, as he could find open space at the basket. His off-ball game ended up being a really important aspect of his game. Yes, Westbrook did dribble a lot of times, but he was the primary playmaker and helped Durant focus on just catching the ball and scoring. Because of this, Kevin Durant has been one of the most dominant players in the 2010s. So, how does it make sense for him to be a second option? A primary option isn't defined by the best box score stuffer on the team. Instead, one of the hallmarks of a primary option is the ability to still break down the defense when multiple defenders are thrown at them. As teams load up and try to disrupt the star, it's on that player to make the right reads and create opportunities.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. Someone is cooking.
Cooking what, nigga? So basically what you saying is Kevin Durant can't break down a defense and pass?
Well, let's see how he finishes off.
Luka Doncic does this brilliantly by picking apart double teams in the pick and roll. Nikola Jokic does the same from the post, effortlessly finding open teammates. This forces the defense into constant dilemmas and what separates true primary options from just pure scorers. The thing that many who call Durant unstoppable didn't mention is that basketball is a team game. While Durant is impossible to guard one-on-one, putting multiple defenders around him changes that equation.
When? I done seen this nigga shoot over two niggas. I done seen Kevin Durant pass out of a double team. I done seen Kevin Durant split a double team. I done seen Kevin Durant do pick and roll. Like, what is we talking about, bro? Stop, bro. Stop. Enough is enough, bro. First it was Kobe. Now y'all trying to double back to KD. Y'all been on LeBron wave about what he said on the podcast. Shots at Jordan and shit. Like, come on, bro. Let's watch the WNBA or something, bro. Come on, man.
In a lot of her previous clips,
let's get ready for football season or something.
From being in single coverage. That's because there's just too much space for him to get in rhythm and find his sweet spots. But forcing Durant to really read the defense has helped slow down some of his scoring prowess. This really started in 2016 when the Warriors would load up with multiple defenders to close up his airspace. Part of the reason they could do this is because the Thunder didn't have enough shooters. So Durant, who has the mentality to score, didn't feel confident passing it to his teammates.
Stop lying, bro. Y'all gotta stop lying, bro. Serge will knock that bitch down, bro. Stop. Don't show the bad plays to make your point. We've all seen Kevin Durant play, bro, and make passes and make plays. Sometimes as a natural scorer or the leader of the team, or when it's a crucial moment, or whatever the case may be, sometimes you might not pass that motherfucking heat open and he might shoot it. It's different. You can go back and look at Jordan shit. I guarantee you, Steve Kerr or somebody, when them motherfuckers was open, he still shot that bitch.
And settle for tougher shots instead.
Let's be fair, this didn't start in 2016. This started that year Russ got hurt and they matched up against the Grizzlies. That's when it really started.
Here, he does a great job beating Iguodala, and Green's ready to help. As he goes up, Adams is open underneath the basket. Serge Ibaka is also open in the corner.
Okay, we gotta... Serge... Okay. Serge is open for a reason, though. This is shit.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like he Klay Thompson or something like that. No, but Serge can't knock down a 3-pointer. But at the same time, bro, like, all right, bro. Niggas is nitpicking now, bro.
I'll be talking. All right. Let me see if he cooking. Let's see.
Durant tries to go at one of the best defenders ever. On this one, he's coming off a curl, and he predetermines his shot over two Warriors defenders. If we go back, this needs to be thrown to Ibaka on the roll, especially with no Warriors big men near the paint.
But Ibaka didn't roll, though. Did Ibaka roll?
Two Warriors defenders.
No, he went for the rebound and got the rebound.
He's coming off a curl, and he predetermines his shot over...
Yeah, Ibaka popped to the three-point line.
Overall, by having multiple defenders around him, this pushed him out a bit further and forced him to take these tough contested shots. Knowing that the defense was going to load up, Durant would go a bit quicker than he normally would like and put himself in bad positions to score. In that 2016 series, he settled a lot instead of trying to move the defense because he just didn't have the spacing that he ideally would want. As a result, in one of the all-time moves, Durant mustered up the courage to join the Golden State Warriors to play with more shooters and skilled players. That worked out immediately, as he won back-to-back titles with two Finals MVPs. And in the 2017 finals specifically, he scored 30 points in every.
So is that not like one of the same shots that coming off the curl and a nigga grill in his face? That's what he do. He's 7 foot. It don't matter. He don't gotta make the right play all the time. He's 7 foot.
Game and averaged 35 points for the series. Because of this, a lot of people were under the impression that Durant had made a significant leap in his game. In reality, though, it was the roster around him, specifically having Stephen Curry, that made his life a lot easier.
How is that? How does that, you know what I'm saying? How is that not obvious? How is that not obvious? How is that not obvious? Like, come on now. How is that not obvious? Yes, when you play with shooters, when LeBron went and played with shooters, when he went back to Cleveland, what happened? When he played with shooters in Miami, when they spread the floor, what happened? Y'all forget they had like Ray Allen and what's the white boy name that was knocking that shit down? James, and then they had James Jones or whatever, not James Jones, whoever it was. Like they had shooters. Chris Bosh could knock down a three. What was it, Mike? Is it Mike Williams or Mike? I'm forgetting his name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Like they had shooters around him. When you have shooters, it opens up the paint.
And he's hard to stop, and he's going to score his points. I just think, the most dangerous guy over the last 3 finals, and we've talked about, is that Steph Curry.
I ain't gonna lie, this clip might as well be played at Steph's Hall of Fame. Hey, when Steph gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, just play this clip, my nigga.
When he's making shots, when he's scoring the basketball, when he's passing the basketball, they're an unbelievable team. So I think, that's the hint of the snake.
In the finals, the Cavs had clearly made the effort to sell it to Steph Curry at all costs. This was most apparent in Game 1, when the Cavs let Durant get multiple fast break dunks because they didn't want Curry to shoot threes.
This shit is nasty when you watch and just watch.
In real time, yeah, you see it. I give him that. Like, I ain't know, I'm a realist. I see it. It's Steph. You gotta run over there. It's Steph. But calling him the greatest second option is just crazy, bruh. It's just crazy. That goes to say that like Russ just couldn't shoot. If you want to, Russ couldn't shoot. We didn't have to leave. We can clog the paint and force him to pass the ball on a fast break. And if Russ make it, he make it. But if not, he got a better chance of missing it than making it. It's basketball. It's strategy. Like, I don't understand how is that taken away from Kevin Durant though. How?
This again is fucking crazy. It's crazy. It's insane to watch that shit.
Curry often handled the basketball because the Cavs were going to double him. So with all that attention, Durant was often the beneficiary, driving into this wide open space for two. Remember, in OKC...
Nigga, LeBron could have contested that shit. What? Come on, bro. Y'all gotta chill, bro. LeBron sees him coming down the lane. What is we talking about, bro?
Drive.
What's wide open, bro? Why didn't he contest the block? Why didn't you block the shot? Why didn't you try to block the shot? You try to chase block everything else from a nigga from behind. Why didn't you try to block the shot?
Into this wide open space for two.
What is we on? Like, y'all get me tight because y'all talk about my man's like that.
These defensive shells where multiple guys zoned up on him.
Bro, this is a big reason why I just cannot take a lot of these conversations serious. Just blatantly comparing era from era, especially 2000s players. We got to be serious. But y'all will sit here and complain when there is one non-floor spacer on the floor. Y'all will lose y'all mind like, oh my God, he can't shoot threes, take him off. Like, there'll be one nigga. And there will be like multiple of these same niggas on the floor for everybody else in the 2000s. But then y'all sit here and say like how much better niggas are.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying because there's so many more shooters in today's game that the floor should be wide open compared to back in the old era when there wasn't as many as, you know what I'm saying, shooters or capable 3-point shooters back then. So the lane was more clogged. And it was a big man game. Everybody was getting, you know what I'm saying, power forwards and centers and shit like that. So I get where he coming from with the error thing. I'm still on the KD shit though.
Like with floor spacing and better understanding of how offenses should be structured, because even if you're not a shooter, they tend to put the ball in your hand in very efficient and advantageous situations way more now than they used to back in the day. Back in the day, the ball get put in your hand based off of your position rather than your actual skill set. That tends to be the difference from era to era.
And would face these defensive shells where multiple guys zoned up on him. But in Golden State, the defense lightened up. With Curry around, he has all that space on the wing and scores.
This is like, you're not saying nothing that nobody don't know though, bro. This is basketball. This is strategy. This is personnel. How you can't take personnel away from him, bro. You just can't, bro. He did what he was supposed to do in Golden State.
Curry's setup Durant was through the pick and roll. Again, with multiple dudes always going to Steph, that left Durant with a much easier matchup in isolation, and there's just no chance someone like Kevin Love can even defend that.
From what I see, Kevin Love, he's a what, power forward? He's 6'11". This is over his. This is in his grill, bro.
And there's just no.
It's not in his grill. Put hand down, man down. Is that not in his grill? I'm like, y'all stop playing, bro.
Like Kevin Love can even defend that.
How he tried to? He was too late. We just watched LeBron sit there. What you talking about? It's the finals.
More resources dedicated to.
He's 7 foot. He's a mouse down there, JR. You too small.
Shots that he really likes.
What you mean? Okay, Rich, what you gonna
really
do?
Helped with his efficiency.
That's tough.
When Curry was not on the floor, the offense didn't look nearly as potent. Yes, they had Klay Thompson, but the offense looked more traditional with the ball at the top of the key and trying to drive the lane and kick out for threes. The off-ball movement that was Golden State's calling card wasn't really there because they had Durant trying to be the primary playmaker. This difference in offensive flow can be reflected by Durant and Curry's impact in the offense. Through their 3 years together, when Durant was on the floor and Curry was not, Golden State only outscored teams by 2.54 points per 100 possessions. But when Curry was on the floor and Durant was not,
that's crazy.
Golden State still out.
That's crazy. But if you ask anybody during that time, Steph deferred to Kevin Durant. Before Kevin Durant got there, that was Steph. Steph was going for 50. He was his MVP. He was going crazy. It's not like KD got there and they made KD like, hey, you gonna get this. No.
Outscored teams.
I'm trying to take this in as much as I possibly can, and I'm trying to be as fair as possible to KD. This is net rating, not offensive rating. Net rating can obviously be influenced with defense, and Steph is playing a lot of minutes with Draymond. If you wanted to get the actual answer, you wouldn't use net rating. You would use offensive rating. However, this is still a pretty wide margin. I cannot believe that Draymond's defense alone makes up for like 13-point difference, basically. I can't imagine that Draymond is 11? That great. I can't believe Draymond is that great. So I'm pretty sure Steph is doing a lot of heavy lifting in this.
You're 100 possessions. This isn't necessarily the end-all be-all, but it helps us understand why teams believe Curry was still the head of the snake. Even though Durant had the better numbers, it was Curry's ability to handle all the defensive pressure that allowed Durant to succeed in his role. Yes, KD still had a big role on this team, but he didn't have to do the dirty work that most stars have to do to make it.
All this analytical shit and all that, we're gonna keep it real simple, bro. Keep it real simple. I'm gonna ask you one question. Please let me know in the comments. Like the video, shout out to the low post. If Kevin Durant not on that team, do they win back to back? After the 3-1 comeback, I got them going back to the finals with the team constructed without Kevin Durant. But do they beat Cleveland back to back? You let me know, please. in a discussion.
Their teams better. And as his career continued, we started to see some of those cracks. When he left Golden State, most teams thought that getting him was an automatic path to a championship. But since he's left, he's only won 2 playoff series in his career, despite having multiple stars alongside him and much more shooting than he had at any time in OKC.
This is also being very disingenuous. And this is
I was just getting ready to say that, bruh. You got to talk about the whole story, bruh. First of all, when he first went to Brooklyn, he was hurt. That was Kyrie's solo year. When he came back, that was COVID, I think, or something had happened to where as though Kyrie had problems or whatever the case may be, or whatever. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the second year. And the second year they lost to Giannis, his foot was on the line. The third year, if I'm not mistaken, they trade for James Harden. They trade all their assets, not really all their assets, but their depth, their bench depth. They traded it all away for James Harden. On top of that, that's when the Kyrie shit begins to happen, the COVID, all the other stuff that was happening. He wasn't showing up. He had personal issues at home. It was a lot of things that was showing up. So all this, he had more shooters around. Stop. Phoenix, they did the same thing when they went and got Bradley Beal. Keep trying to get super teams instead of building a quality roster. A quality roster, bro.
another reason why I hated this idea when people were trying to fight against me about the difference between Kevin Durant and like how his inability to go downhill drastically changed after that Achilles injury. And I genuinely hate it when people were trying to argue against that because it was this gross misrepresentation of who Kevin Durant once was in contrast to who he eventually became in Brooklyn and onwards. Durant was just not the same defender. Yeah, people were arguing he got better. No. Defensively and athletically, like his ability, and especially if you're arguing the ability to shift defenses and create open opportunities for your teammates, that is going to be substantially harder to do if you're not the same athlete that you were before. And if you just go back and rewatch 2012, 13, 14 KD, even to 2016, because I think 16 is like a very underrated defensive year for KD. If you watch those years of Durant, there's just no way that you can watch the athleticism of Kevin Durant and think that that did not play a major role in why he wasn't the playmaker that he needed to be onwards. The problem, however, for Kevin Durant, and this is not even really a problem, this is just like the lifespan of like NBA players. A lot of your better qualities tend not to overlap with one another. So when they do, obviously you make the most out of them, which I think Kevin Durant did within his time in Golden State. I think that it is unfair to question KD's ability to play make when the only real time you can really see if he had the ability to do so was during a time in which he didn't have the proper floor spacing. However, I do believe that even if he had better floor spacing in OKC, I still think there's a cap and a limitation to the passer and playmaker he would have been, just because I think at that stage of his career he was still young.
Yes, in OKC, Russ was just, he was a man on a mission. He was running the fast breaks. It wasn't, they did run some pick and roll, but it was more so like they was youngins. They was running and gunning. It was him, James, and Russ. And Russ, we all know on a fast break, all he see is the rim. When they did get into their sets, you know what I'm saying, Kevin was like he showed, was coming off ball screens. He was hitting the midi. You know what I'm saying? He was hitting his threes or whatever. And then James was the sixth man. So that the play style was just totally different. They was just pure athletic youngins hooping. Once he got to Golden State, the reason why he wanted to go to Golden State, because they ran an offense, they ran a system, they played within the system, they shared the ball. It was similar to what the San Antonio Spurs were doing. It was like it was free flowing. That's what he wanted to play like. So that was that's him in a nutshell. That's how he wants to play. When he goes to Brooklyn, it changes because, for the simple fact that, okay, just take out the first year because he goes hurt. When he starts to play with Kyrie and all that, Kyrie is similar to Russ when it comes down to patting the ball. Kyrie didn't get into his playmaking and all that for his teammates until after Brooklyn, and he got to, I feel like till he got to the Mavericks. But because if you think about it, his Cleveland days, he was a scorer. I mean, yeah, he probably would dime here and there, but he was a scorer. His Brooklyn days, he was a scorer. To me. Now, you might think differently, but to me, I feel like he was a scorer. You feel what I'm saying? Like, Steph is just different. Steph can play off the ball. He doesn't need the ball. Even though he got Pat and he can do all that, but like we have known him for playing off the ball if he needs to. More than likely, he's going to run around all that. He doesn't need the ball. That's why he's one of the rare superstars that's easy to play with, because he doesn't need the ball. So once he got to Golden State, he had to learn how to play make. He had to, because you have all these shooters around that play without the ball. If Steph wanted, he gonna get it for sure. But I'm saying is, like, you got Clay running around on ball screens. You got Steph running around on ball screens. Iggy is cutting to the basket. You feel what I'm saying? Draymond is the point forward. Or not, he's cutting to the basket. You got what's the name for the lobs? Like, it's different personnel, it's a different system. That's why it looks different when you go back and look at these different teams, bro. Even when you talk about Phoenix, it's kind of like it's not going to look the same as when he was with Phoenix. I mean, when he was with Golden State, for the simple fact that it's a different system. Devin Booker pats the ball. He does come off ball screen, but it's not the same as Steph. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I get it. I get where y'all coming from. Of course, when you have an Achilles injury, you're going to lose some of that juice from that ankle, from that back of your, you know what I'm saying, your heel, what the case may be, and it takes a while for it to strengthen, and you know what I'm saying, you feel comfortable about taking off on it. But to say he can't play make it, to me, is crazy. I think his best defensive years was in Golden State as well, because he had to, because, you know, they like to play small. The best second option in NBA history is kind of crazy to me. That's just crazy to me.
The time when you're at that stage, especially for what is more a traditional wing, more coming off of pin downs, elevators, floppies, like those type of like off-ball actions. A lot of those wings normally don't really develop a high level of passing and playmaking anyway, because normally they just utilize like play finishers for the most part.
That's because KD had to become the primary playmaker. Kevin Durant automatically makes teams better because he's so great on an individual level, but that doesn't really translate with his teammates. The biggest thorn in Durant's offensive game is his ability to find his teammates. Against double teams, he struggled to secure the ball and then find the open guy. Because he's loose with the ball, a lot of defenders are waiting to strip the ball as he's trying to corral
That's a foul.
So even if his teammates are open, he's not prepared for the double to be able to find
It's a bad pass.
One specific aspect of his passing that Durant never figured out was using his eyes to move the defense, and this allows help defenders to read his passes.
I ain't gonna lie, these are pretty nasty clips.
They is though. I'm not gonna lie, this is bad plays,
Even
bro.
with all that bail I'm giving KD, these are some nasty clips. I can't hold you. These are just nasty clips. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. This is nasty.
Is so high up to close off Durant's driving lane. That then puts a ton of pressure on Horford to react to either of these nets. But because Durant's staring at Claxton, Horford can rotate, and even if the ball moves around, everyone rotates perfectly, which loses that advantage. Funny enough, just a minute later.
So why did the offense stop once Kyrie got the ball? Why nobody else cut after that?
Later, Horford's the passer and Durant's the help defender. But because Horford fakes that pass to move KD, now the corner three is open.
But he's already beat though. Hold on, bro. You got it. Come on, bro. Hold up. Y'all just not gonna just do film on my man and
Just
then
a
try to
minute
make my
later,
man look like
Horford's
that.
the passer and
Hold
Durant's
on.
the help defender.
Okay. So there's a off ball screen right there, right? There's an off ball screen right there.
But because
Now, he's lost in the sauce right here. This is his fault. He chose the wrong person. He's supposed to go with Jason Tatum, whoever this white boy is. Excuse me, I don't know your name.
Horford fakes
What is you talking about? He's lost in the sauce. What the bruh? What is y'all
That
on,
faster
man?
move.
He was supposed to go with him. Claxton's supposed to stay with the person that set the screen. This is what left KD in a bind. I'm in a bind, Nate.
With KD, now the corner three is open and Williams just misses. As Durant has gotten older, defenses have become smarter and faster, so it requires the smallest of details, like using your eyes to move the defense, to really open up the passing lanes that you truly want. And Durant has never really figured that out. Defenses have then continued to pressure him, and he hasn't been able to maximize the offense with that extra attention. The reality is that Durant never found that co-star that could relieve him of some of those playmaking duties. Harden was probably the closest guy that really embraced being the point guard in Brooklyn, but that experiment only lasted 16 games together. Kyrie Irving has a similar mentality as Durant in terms of scoring first before trying to find his teammates.
That's a fact.
And then in Phoenix, they wanted Devin Booker to be that primary playmaker,
And he's not. They had something going with Chris Paul.
but he also has similar issues as KD. While he doesn't turn the ball over as much as him, he also doesn't do enough to punish those double teams. Most notably against Denver, Booker couldn't make the skip pass to the corner, which allowed Denver's defense to rotate just one pass away. And as the years went on, the offense continued to make the same mistakes, and as a result, the Suns had to blow it up and are now in the midst of a rebuild. Which then leads to my most important point. Kevin Durant's value didn't come from elevating the floor of a team, but more so elevating the ceiling of a great team already. As long as there was a playmaker on the floor, Durant could maximize his value by focusing on finding the right matchups.
So what's the problem with that though? Y'all making it seem like that doesn't make you a second option, bruh. That doesn't make you a second option.
So that he could score more effortlessly. And there's nothing wrong with being known as that. At the end of the day, Durant will deservedly go down as one of the all-time greats, and specifically one of the best scorers of all time. Even if I don't think his game is suited as a primary option, that should not take away from his overall greatness.
In essence, I understand and I effectively agree with the value of being a playmaker. I think that what he is saying is effectively true. The value of a playmaker is important when it comes to you being the first option, because I do believe best offensive weapon on the team not only needs to be able to generate quality looks for themselves, but also everyone else as well. And
Okay. 12 assists, 13 assists. Okay, 9 assists, 13 assists, 10 assists. That 1991. That was crazy. Okay, Jordan. 10 assists, 11 assists, 39, 39, 30, 28, 10 assists. That's tough. Let's go to 1992. 4 assists, 6 assists, 4 assists, 5 assists, 9 assists, 6 assists. Okay, 93. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to 96. 8 assists, 5 assists, 2 assists, 1 assist. 5 assists, 3 assists. It's not Mike. It's different. It's his first one, though. Let's go to the second one. 5 assists, 6 assists, 3 assists, 9 assists, 6 assists, 6 assists. Okay, 03. It's the one he lost in 08. He's the passer out of all of them. Out of the top 3, big 3, legendary 3, GOAT debate 3. You feel what I'm saying? 4 assists, 6 assists, 7 assists, 10 assists. This is his first one against San Antonio. He only went for double digits once. He got 9 assists right here, 5 assists, 4 assists, 7 assists, 6 assists, 4 assists. He got this finals right. The 2012 one was crazy against OKC. This second time around against the Spurs, 10 assists, 7 assists, 4 assists, 6 assists, 11 assists. Okay, cool. Four assists, 1 assist, 0 assists, 3 assists, 3 assists. That was bad. He had 36 points though. He wasn't really a passer then. Let's go down to Cleveland. Let's go to this Cleveland run. 3 assists, 8 assists, 6 assists, 4 assists. Like, it's around the same as probably LeBron. Jordan was the only one that really like went crazy with the assists. If you go back, Jordan was the only one that was like really like, if you want to say playmaking, everybody else looks average, 4 to 5 assists per game in the finals. Go back to MJ. He was the only one that I feel like was going crazy. Only one. 12 assists. This is his first finals. 12 assists, 13 assists, 9 assists, 13 assists, 10 assists, 11 assists, 10. Like, he's the only one that's really going stupid.
We've seen several times in Kevin Durant's career where they will allow him to kind of go one-on-one. We literally saw that with KD when he was matching up against the Timberwolves. They allowed Gobert or Cat to just defend KD and kind of cut off a lot of other things. And if KD wanted to go one-on-one, that's fine, because at the end of the day, he's not going to be able to generate enough points to beat someone. Similar things with the Milwaukee Bucks as well, but I think Milwaukee's a very unique circumstance when he matched up against them, because KD had no other choice but to go one-on-one because everybody else was hurt. However, 2 things. A, I don't think Kevin Durant should be punished for his flaws to the degree in which you are claiming that he is the best second option of all time, because it implies that not only does he not do it, but he doesn't do it enough to shift the defense, which in my opinion is just inherently not true. As great as those years were with Kevin Durant with the Warriors, part of the reason why I'm not the biggest fan of it is because I think that it fundamentally took away an aspect of Curry and Durant's careers as players, and that is you having to figure things out and grow because of it, and by default you will become a better player. Both of them went into those stretch of years with real problems that they had to solve as individuals. Curry needed to be a better on-ball creator, and Durant needed to be a better passer and playmaker. However, because they played with one another, those are skills that they didn't really have to develop at that stage of their career. In any normal circumstances, they would have to. It would be designed out of necessity. Like you would literally have to have that type of growth if you wanted to continue to build to your legacy and just continue to develop as time progressed. And that is, again, an aspect of every player's career. Matter of fact, that's just an aspect of life.
I just feel like, me personally, like, because I remember Steph having that bitch on a string at all times in Golden State. If anything, I would say he had to be not a on ball like ball handler. It was more so an on ball defender. But doing, like, the main thing about that was when they would meet up with LeBron in the finals. LeBron being 6'10", 2 whatever, they just didn't have nobody to really stop him from getting downhill. On top of that, you got JR, you got, you know what I'm saying, other shooters around him that was just shooting the ball so well. Him, Kevin Love, and whatever the case, whoever else you want to name. Kevin Durant was just the equalizer to equal out what LeBron was doing. They had the better team. It's just that they didn't have the better superstar, in my opinion. They just did, like, the better superstar was just taking over when they came back 3-1. Now, if you, like, of course, Draymond getting kicked out or whatever it was, game 4, game 5, played a big part. But in that comeback, LeBron and Kyrie was just on another level. So if you tried to equal out what they was doing, because they was both putting up 40. If you try to equal out what they're doing, you don't have the other super, like Clay just didn't do enough. You know what I'm saying? Iggy just didn't do enough. Like they just didn't have enough on the offensive side to really keep up with how Kyrie and LeBron was just putting up points. In my opinion, though, respectfully, in my opinion. So it's kind of like, I don't feel like them playing together stopped their growth as players. I feel like them playing together showed us how, if you have an unselfish superstar that has multiple ways of playing the position, it can work. I think that we got lost in the super team era thing because of basically we seen the names. But if you take away the names and look at how they played, even when it come down to the Boston Big Three, they all played differently. Ray Allen, spot up shooter, come off the ball strings, whatever the case. We know how Ray Allen played. Paul Pierce was your elbow guy, one-on-one guy. You feel what I'm saying? KG on the block. Rondo as the point. Like they all had different roles. If you look at some of the super teams that they so-called tried to put around Kevin Durant after his stint with Golden State, they all did the same thing to a certain extent. That's why I always say, like, when it was just him and Kyrie with that roster, they had a chance. It was just unfortunate his foot was on the line. When they broke it down and got James, I didn't feel like they needed to do that because they got rid of their depth. Even when they did it in Finn, he went to another spot and they did the exact same thing. They had enough with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, him, and what they had around them. But once they went and got Bradley Beal and got rid of the depth, and then on top of that, his bad contract that you couldn't even get rid of him if it didn't work, that was just, you know what I'm saying? It was just unfortunate. But I'ma always go to bat for my man KD. Like I said, some of y'all look at him totally different from the way we look at him. Like, bruh, you being from the town, nigga, and doing what you did, it's just one in a million. Also, just if you want to look at it statistically, the statistics is there, the stats is there. The impact on the game of basketball, there will never be another player like Kevin Durant. As many 7-footers that we see coming into the game now, trying to emulate what he can do, it's crazy, bro. Like, the greatest second option is just disrespectful in my eyes, bro.
Curry had the privilege to continue to build beyond that because Curry did not suffer a career-altering injury. So we got to see Curry indeed had the capability of consistently growing as a player, and then we got to see the 2022 run where he is effectively really not only the only really passer and playmaker on the team, but also the only real shot creator as well. And we got to see the true ascension of who Curry was as a ball handler, passer, playmaker, and shot creator.
That's a fact. That Boston finals, even the first finals. That first finals that they won against Bron and them, but that Boston Celtics finals really made us look at Stephen Curry different, because that Boston team was the favorite. They were younger, they were bigger, they were stronger, and they outplayed them. They played Golden State basketball, and they outplayed them. They played as a team. You know what I'm saying? They outplayed them, and Steph did his thing. You dig what I'm saying? Like, but just because Stephen Curry's success without Kevin Durant doesn't diminish Kevin Durant's success with Stephen Curry, if that makes sense. That doesn't take away from what he's done with Stephen Curry. You dig what I'm saying? Now, if you want to say, well, he hasn't done anything after Steph Curry, okay, cool. But at the end of the day, he's still one of the greatest players to ever play the game. So being a second option for one of the greatest players to ever play the game is just crazy, bruh. Crazy. And then you look at LeBron James, who some of y'all GOAT, which is respectfully, that's cool. and look at all of the first rounders he played with, first overall picks he played with, all the players he ever played with. Like, come on, bro. Like, everybody is playing with everybody nowadays. So I feel like you using that against Kevin Durant is kind of crazy.
And I'm gonna be honest with you all, I think a lot of people should look at the quickness of Curry back in 2015 and 2016 and maybe even 2017 as well, because I do think that if Curry had the shot creation that we saw out of him in 2022 back in 2016, we would have really gotten the best version of Curry, in my opinion. But we got stripped of that because that's not a necessity for Curry anymore because he has KD. And I would argue we also lost the best version of Kevin Durant as well, or at least the hypothetical, because the best version of Kevin Durant would have had no other choice but for him to become a better passer and playmaker while still being the athlete that he was before he tore his Achilles. So these are all aspects of their games that would have occurred. That's the reason why LeBron in Miami, that's the best version of him, because he figured out and developed his scoring ability as a post player, as a scorer, as a shooter, three-point shooter, et cetera, et cetera. But that came out of necessity. That's the reason why Jokic over the last 2 to 3 years has been so much better than what he was in previous years, because he
has no other choice but to do that. He has no other choice but to do that.
Those years without Jamal Murray and without MPJ, and was forced to have a degree of aggressiveness from a scoring standpoint that even still wavers from time to time. But I think that it was necessary for him to go through those years so he understood when to pick the points and times in which to be aggressive. Same thing with Shaq. I think it was perfect that Shaq failed as many times as he did, because then he gained the patience and became a better passer out of the post by the time we got to the three-peat. Same thing with Hakeem, even Jordan. A lot of those times.
Yeah, I had to go look at that. Because, you got some of these players that just known for their scoring prowess, but like that kind of shocked me though. I didn't know Jordan was going crazy with the assists in the finals like that.
So you look on early in his career, he's just not the passer that he needs to be, and he's also not the shooter that he needs to be. Karl Malone is another example where Malone became a better passer. He had a better feel for it. In essence, I understand what he's saying, because I do think passing and playmaking is a very underrated aspect of offense, and I think too many people write it off as just like you're farming assists, and it is what it is. I think KD was much closer to the player that we would have saw out of him, and writing him off, believing that he wasn't where he needed to be, and saying that he's just the greatest second option, I think it's a tad bit too much. As time continues to progress, I understand and comprehend what the point is trying to be made there. I just think that the greatest second option is crazy. But I
do too. But I get his points. I see where you're coming from with it. But I strongly disagree, bro. I strongly disagree. Nah. Because I feel like you could still be, you don't have to have playmaking in your game to be the number one option. That's just something I believe in. I feel like you don't, because you have people that have playmaking in their game and can't put the ball in the bucket. Do that make them the number one option? No. I feel like the number one option is the guy who's going to get us a bucket when we need it. Who's the driving force of this team? Who's the leader of the team? Who's the person that we go to when things go bad? Who do we turn to? I feel like that's your number one option. That's the guy that you put all your eggs in the basket and say, take us there. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what Golden State did those 2 years that he was there. 2 or 3 years that they was there. They was supposed to three-peat if he didn't get hurt. Kevin Durant, we're going to allow you to take the wheel. We, as a team, we can get to the finals, but we can't win the finals because LeBron has figured. And when he came back from 3-1, you can damn near for sure say he figured it out. He figured out how to beat the Golden State Warriors. I 100% believe that. So the Warriors' counterattack was to, hey, we're going to get the person that can rival you, and then we still keep all these other pieces around. You feel what I'm saying? But I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments how y'all feel about this shit, bro. Good video from Low. Good video from bro who posted that junk. I had to, bro. It's about KD. That's my boy, man. Fuck that.